All right, guys, so we got to talk about failing news network CNN that really has sunk to the bottom of the barrel, okay? It does not get worse for a news network than CNN, okay? All the time they spend talking junk about Fox News. CNN has more drama going on in that network than anything that I've seen or heard going on at Fox News. But before we really get into the failures and the downfall of CNN, we got to talk about their absolute worst news anchor, who is Brian Stelter, okay? Who apparently has some trust issues with the American people, okay? He got some trust issues with American people because in his continued tirade that the mainstream liberal media is doing on Joe Rogan, and the fact that Joe Rogan has a much larger audience than they do, Brian Stelter claims that people trusting Joe Rogan over newsrooms like CNN is a big problem. It is a much bigger problem than Spotify. Take a look.
The narrative is, I want to show all kinds of opinions.
Which sounds great, but not all opinions are created equal. You think about major newsrooms like CNN that have health departments and desks and operations that work hard on verifying information on COVID-19. And then you have talk show stars like Joe Rogan who just wing it, who make it up as they go along. And because figures like Rogan are trusted by people that don't trust real newsrooms, we have a problem that's much bigger than Spotify, much bigger than any single platform, Kate. But that's what is the heart of this right now.
Yeah, but you're right. It is getting at something bigger that isn't going to be solved in one Joe Rogan video or one statement from Spotify. That's for sure. It's good to see you, Brian. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that is little failing CNN host Brian Stelter telling the American people what I've been telling you guys for a long time about why these journalists or these so-called journalists hate Joe Rogan. The reason why is because people listen to Joe Rogan over people like Brian Stelter. And Brian Stelter feels like, no, because I have a degree in journalism, because I have a background in journalism, because I've done this, because I have a lot of resources, a huge newsroom like CNN behind what I do, telling me what I can and can't say. No, the American people should pay attention to me more than somebody like Joe Rogan. Okay, that's what a whole lot of this stuff comes from, guys. It is simply jealousy. Joe Rogan is not trained in any of this stuff. Okay, I mean, what is he? An MMA enthusiast, a comedian, okay, podcast host, right? That just talks about aliens and smoking weed all day, right? That guy is beating these guys. Okay, people trust him more than they trust them, and I'm telling you, that really, really, really pisses these people off. It really does. But see, the problem is that these people like Brian Stelter don't realize is that the reason why people trust Joe Rogan over people like them is because Joe Rogan just comes out and tells you exactly what he is, right? Joe Rogan is like, listen, I'm just giving you my opinions, right? I'm just platforming these different ideas. This is how I feel, but I'm not coming to you as if, I'm objective news, right? I don't think any people go to Joe Rogan for objective news as much as they just go for opinionated analysis, which is exactly what people like Brian Stelter, Don Lemon, Joy Reid, that's exactly what they do. But they peddle their opinion as if it is fact. And I think that's the difference, right? Joe Rogan, again, doesn't pretend to be something that he's not. Brian Stelter, Don Lemon, Joy Reid, the mainstream news hosts of the world, they pretend like they're not opinion hosts when they're simply opinion hosts. Okay? And here's the thing. While people like Brian Stelter are complaining about, well, why don't people trust CNN? Well, it's kind of CNN's fault because CNN is the same network that basically allegedly put a filter on Joe Rogan to try to make him look like he was more sick than he actually was when he got COVID, right? So if Brian Stelter wants to get mad about why people trust Joe Rogan over CNN, then he should point to his own network. Okay, point to all the lies that this network has told throughout the years when it comes to not only just Joe Rogan, but also Trump, right? Pushing the whole Russian disinformation thing, right? Which is, again, a conspiracy. Blocking and censoring out any information that may have hurt Joe Biden's chances of winning the presidency, aka the whole Hunter Biden thing, saying that was Russian disinformation when it wasn't. Again, it's stuff like that CNN lies about on a daily basis that makes people not trust the network. But yet again, they want to whine and complain about trust. But we're going to get back to CNN. But while we're on the topic of Joe Rogan, the White House has officially chimed in on this whole Joe Rogan thing. Jen Psaki has come out here and basically called for more censorship in response to Rogan's and Spotify's response to all the backlash that Joe Rogan is getting.
Last week, the Surgeon General also was asked on MSNBC about Joe Rogan's vaccine comments on Spotify, and he said that tech companies have an important role to play in stopping misinformation because they are the predominant places where misinformation spreads. Spotify is putting out advisory warnings on episodes that have to do with COVID-19. Does the White House and the administration think this is a satisfactory step, or do you think that companies like Spotify should go further than just putting a label on there to say, hey, go do your own, check this out. There's more research you can look at, scientific research regarding COVID.
Sure. Well, last July, you probably know, but the Surgeon General also took the unprecedented step to issue an advisory on the risk of misinformation in public health, which is a very significant step. And amid that, he talked about the role social media platforms have. So our hope is that all major tech platforms and all major news sources, for that matter, be responsible and be vigilant to ensure the American people have access to accurate information on something as significant as COVID-19. That certainly includes Spotify. So this disclaimer, it's a positive step, but we want every platform to continue doing more to call out mis and disinformation while also uplifting accurate information. I mean, look at the facts, right? You are 16 times more likely to be hospitalized if you're unvaccinated and 68 times more likely to die than someone who is boosted if you're unvaccinated. That's pretty significant, and we think that is something that unquestionably should be the basis of how people are communicating about it. But ultimately, our view is it's a good step, it's a positive step, but there's more that can be done.
Yeah, so you heard that from a government official's mouth. The government is saying, hey, a private company needs to censor somebody on their platform even more. She clearly is telling you that what Spotify is doing in regards to the whole COVID label thing, not enough. You got to do more, okay? So this whole private company argument, it's just a private company, man. Private companies can do whatever they want, man. Yeah, in the ideal world, private companies would do these things without pressure from the government to do them. But when the government and big tech are working in the same bed with each other, right? They're working hand in hand. The private company argument kind of goes out the window, in my opinion. Okay, so I want people to understand, on the record, a government official, Biden's official mouthpiece, Jen Psaki, is calling for more censorship of Joe Rogan, right? As if this administration doesn't have more pressing things to worry about than a podcast host like Joe Rogan. Again, all this controversy, man, has probably brought Joe Rogan way more listeners than he will otherwise have because of the efforts to censor him. It's kind of crazy. But just like I stated about the White House having more to be concerned about than Joe Rogan, CNN has more to be concerned about than Joe Rogan. They should actually be concerned about themselves, as the president of CNN is now out, right? He has resigned, okay? Another big name at CNN is out. This time the boss, right? The boss is out at CNN. And allegedly, he's out because he had what he calls a consensual relationship with a colleague, but failed to disclose it. Now, once again, here is Brian Stelter explaining to us what is happening at his own network. Take a look.
I've just received, Kate, while we're speaking here, a statement from Allison Gullist as well. As I said, Gullist, the top marketing executive for CNN, she's remaining with the company, and here's what she says, quote, Jeff and I have been close friends and professional partners for over 20 years. Recently, our relationship changed during COVID. I regret that we didn't disclose it at the right time. Gullist going on to say, I'm incredibly proud of my time at CNN and look forward to continuing the great work we do every day. So this is a scenario where you have people who are working together for a long time. Then they start a personal relationship. And because they're both acknowledging they did not disclose it at the time, Zucker saying he should have disclosed it right away. That is why he says he's resigned effective immediately. So Gullist and Zucker, this romantic, this professional relationship that turned romantic, was not disclosed at the outset, and Warner Media has a pretty clear-cut policy saying that that sort of thing has to be disclosed. It's something that's true for all employees. In fact, it happens in newsrooms, as we all know from time to time. You know, you have an anchor and a producer, or you have two reporters who end up dating, and then they go to the bosses and they disclose it. So Warner Media here is saying because Zucker and Alan Gullis did not disclose it, that Zucker is out. Now, you wonder, he says he resigned. My sense from some sources is that he was facing termination if he did not resign. The Chris Cuomo reference. Cuomo was fired in December, and he is not going out quietly. He was fired, and there were reports that he wasn't going to get paid the millions of dollars that were going to be on the remainder of his contract. So as a source said to me earlier today, he was trying to burn the place down. He was going to court trying to burn the place down and claiming that he had incriminating information about Zucker and Gullis. So if that's the case, if this is a domino effect that begins with Andrew Cuomo going down in the governor's office, and then Chris Cuomo being fired from CNN, and then Jeff Zucker losing his job at CNN, that is a remarkable domino effect, a chain of events. I think that is part of the story.
Guys, I want you to understand, okay? CNN, over the past 6 months, this is what we've learned. That the president of CNN was cheating on his wife with his subordinates, other colleagues, so banging his colleague during quarantine, okay, and covered it up. Didn't tell anybody about it, right? CNN has also employed multiple, you know what? I ain't gonna really get into it, but you know what I'm talking about here, right? They employed a whole lot of those people, okay? Their top anchor, Chris Cuomo, he covered up his abuse allegations, right, to his victims. And, you know, CNN probably was complicit in that as well. And doing that investigation, looking into Chris Cuomo, they discovered that the president was having an inappropriate relationship. Again, crazy how that worked. And let's not forget, Don Lemon has his own set of dirty Sanchez allegations going on. And they still employ a serial public masturbator, right? So I want you guys to understand, the most trusted name in news, CNN, not only puts out fake news, but the people that employ at their network are full of scandals. Most of them having to do with sex, right? Most of them having to do with sex. So I want people to understand that. This is the network that Brian Stelter is complaining about, that people don't trust, right? He's putting the blame on you, right? It is a problem that the American people don't trust CNN over Joe Rogan, but CNN has all these issues, right? They have all these issues. And guys, I find it absolutely hilarious to see a network like CNN fall so far from grace, right? All them years going after Trump, talking about what Trump did and all this other stuff, okay? Lo and behold, they doing some of the same stuff that they alleging that Trump was doing. People at their network, okay, doing some of the same stuff, but yet they have this, oh, well, you know, people like Joe Rogan bad. Listen to us, we're good, right? When you just the pot calling the kettle black. But in fact, CNN is actually worse, right? They're the bottom of the barrel, okay? This network, really, they should just start over, right? Just get rid of everybody. The president is out at the top. This is a good time to start over. Get rid of everybody. Fire everybody and just start a whole new network at this point. That's how damaged the brand of CNN has become. But hey, like I said, man, I don't feel bad for them at all. I'm enjoying every last bit of this network fall apart because they deserve it. They deserve it for pushing censorship, for trying to take people off air like Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan. And it's so satisfying to see them face these consequences. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.